Hey y'all, and welcome to PolitiBrawl. My name is Brian, and Senator Kennedy reveals the disturbing link between Iran and Hamas.
The UN sends Hamas money to educate the children, does it not?
The UN pays for some education in Gaza. They do that
that a
through their
yes?
own agencies.
Is that a yes?
They provide the money into Gaza, yes.
I'll take that as a yes. The UN gives Hamas money to run hospitals, does it not?
The UN runs hospitals in Gaza too, yes.
And in fact, doesn't Hamas tax at the rate of 16.5% every bit of food and aid that comes in to Gaza?
They do tax everything. I don't know the exact
And
percent.
Hamas levies a tax on even fish caught, does it not?
They tax everything.
And Hamas also levels an income tax, does it not?
That too.
Okay. President Biden's administration has not enforced the sanctions on Iranian oil, on Iranian oil, has it?
No.
Okay. So you agree with Ms. I'm sorry, I can't see you. Pleska. So you agree?
I tend to make it a policy to try to agree with Ms. Pletko whenever possible.
Yeah.
That's probably a good idea because what this lady is about to reveal is going to absolutely shock you to your core and show just how ridiculous the whole Biden administration is. They're just rotten to the core.
Well, you're smart. You told us you were smart. President Biden has not chosen to impose the snapback sanctions under the JPCOA, has he?
Correct.
Okay. Ms. Pletka, who has the $6 billion?
It's in a bank in Qatar.
Okay. So Qatar has control of it.
In essence, that is correct, although...
Well, let me put it this way. If the Qatar bank, there's a Qatar bank. If Qatar tells them to do something, and the United States tells them not to do something, who's the bank going to listen to?
Well, that is the question before us right now.
Who's the bank going to listen to?
Qatar,
Of
their
course.
government.
Okay. And isn't it a fact that back in 2021, Treasurer Yellen, through special drawing rights at the International Monetary Fund, gave Iran $4.5 billion?
That's what I understand, yes.
And she'd like to give them more.
That's what I understand, yes.
That's like cash money. It's really a dividend. You can cash in for U.S. dollars. Is that right?
That's what I understand.
Wow.
Wow, that's probably the right response to this. So apparently, through the UN and even the USA, allowing funds to go to places like Qatar, Hamas can use that money and launder it in order to support what is ultimately an attempt to destroy everything around them. This isn't just dark. We're letting this happen.
It seems to me that we could cut off Hamas, or at least to go a long way toward doing that by actually just enforcing the things that we already say we're enforcing.
Every authority that is necessary to cut off Iran, Hamas, and every other terrorist group is already in the president's hands. The question is never whether the president can, it's whether the president will.
Well, why has the Biden administration been so soft on Iran? If we know Iran is funding Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, their surrogates in Syria, their surrogates in Iraq, why has President Biden's administration been so soft on them?
Well,
do they just think love is the answer, and that this isn't a bar fight, and that, I mean, it just looks to me like this administration is quoting Socrates in the middle of a prison riot.
Quoting Socrates in a prison riot, or quoting Plato in a prison riot. Got to keep the alliteration up there. Man, I just love Senator Kennedy and his Southernisms. Although Socrates isn't exactly Southern, although I think it was from the south of Greece. Anyways, what's going on here should be deeply disturbing to you. And what's going on is, despite the fact that it was longer in this form, is rather simple. The UN and the USA basically allow backdoor access money for Hamas. People who want to destroy pretty much everything around them. And I'm not talking about Palestinians, I'm talking about Hamas. It's like talking about the Chinese Communist Party. It's okay to talk about them, and we can separate them from the Chinese people. We can talk about Putin and his regime and separate them from the average Russian, although the average Russian loves Putin. There's a reason why he's in power. But when it comes to Iran, a nation that might be in the middle of failing, we know Pakistan's failing, we know Haiti just failed completely. Man, what the Clintons did to that nation was absolutely disgusting. But what's going on here is that through Iranian channels and as well as Qatar channels, money that's supposed to be for humanitarian aid is flowing to Hamas. That should be the most disturbing thing you've heard today. And I hope that's the only disturbing thing you've heard today. Because this will really trigger a liberal. But if you want to trigger liberals in your life, go over to my friends at baseby.shop, link in the description below, and show the world how conservative you really are. Now, as shocking as this is, we can stop this. The Biden administration has not. As a matter of fact, they have wanted to fund Hamas. There is two sides of the Democrat Party. There's the ridiculous left side that screams about everything, and then there's the sort of off-center side that tries to work with corporations as much as they can. That's pretty much the two halves of the Democrat Party. You know which side's screaming right now. That's kind of obvious to everyone. But the Biden administration is caught between a rock and a hard place, and furthermore, doesn't even live up to their actual standards. They're supposed to be freezing assets, not freeing them up. They aren't even holding up to their treaties. It's ridiculous. If you don't hold up to your treaties, then what is the point of having them to begin with? It's absolutely asinine. It makes no sense. And someone needs to be held accountable because something in the government has to work at some point, right? Right? Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on PolitiBrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.